Well, good evening and welcome. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is the Sunday night final word, guys. As we don't really look back on anything, do we, this week? Other than obviously Dave King's interview. There was obviously the fallout from last Sunday. We don't really want to talk about that in what is a very, very dull international week. International football is currently undergoing. We are apparently part of this international break. I don't know about you guys, but it bores the living crap out of me. It really genuinely does bore the absolute shit out of me, this international break. I just wish it was over. Just wish we'd get back to some real proper football. Pacer, how you doing? Good to see you here tonight. Billy knows John. Hello. Good evening and big thank you. I'm doing, buddy. Big Texas says, evening, Owen. Evening, Big Texas. How are you doing tonight, buddy? Well, it is. Hopefully, now we can sort of start to turn the corner. We can build up towards the Dundee United game next Sunday. 12 o'clock kickoff for that one, guys. 12 o'clock kickoff. Yes, it is, apparently. I looked before I came on air. How the hell are Scotland winning in Portugal? I do not know how Scotland are 1-0 up. Such an abject team as Scotland are winning 1-0 away to Portugal. Vladdy, how you doing, buddy? Evening, guys. Been a while since I called. It is, mate. It's a long time since I've seen your name in the live chat. Good to have you back here tonight. Well, look, we are obviously looking ahead this week. We're going to build up towards the game on Sunday. It really is a time when we need to turn things around and get back to winning ways. Look, it's going to be a busy month. It is going to be a busy month of games. David Phillips says, Big Phil, get it sorted. No more messing about. How you getting on? I'm good, buddy. How you doing? Hello. Alex, good evening, Alex. How you doing? How are you feeling, Alex? How's everything going with your treatment and everything? I hope you're feeling better, mate. So, look, we are obviously building up towards Dundee United next week. Look, where are we at the moment with this team? It's just, I don't know. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about where we are with the team. We're going to talk about Nadeem Bajrami. Are we pinning all our hopes on Bajrami coming good and turning it around for Rangers? Is that the hope? Where will he be used? I think that's another point for discussion tonight. Some news also as well about... So here we go. John says, my two favourite international teams are Scotland and Germany. I suppose you're living in Germany, mate. That's understandable. But yeah, look, mate, I don't have any... Look, I'll be honest with you. If I had to say my favourite international team is, I'd have to say it was Wales. I am part Welsh. Greg says, well, Owen, I said that Clement wasn't the manager to take us forward, and he's looking at Ross County scores rather than the abject failure at Celtic is proof of his lack of footballing constitution. That's good news, Alex. Everything is positive for now. A point by Derek there. We'll get to the Clement discussions tonight. Of course we will. Still 1-0 to Scotland. Scott McTominay, the man who was transferred to Napoli, who Man United didn't want because he wasn't good enough. Interesting, that, isn't it? Interesting. So, look, where are we up to at the moment? We're in a situation where we are in a pretty bad situation. We're not doing well. We're not doing well at this moment in time. The club is not in a good place, I don't think, at this moment in time. Now, everybody says, well, you've been really negative about the whole situation. But the problem is, when you try and find a positive at the moment, it's difficult to find positives about being Rangers fans at this moment in time. You know, the club is not in a great way, is it? We need a new seat. I mean, if you look at the list of jobs we still need to fill at this moment in time, I mean, forget the playing staff for a minute, forget the number 6 for a minute. We still need a number of positions, by my reckoning. If you look at what we actually need, we need a new CEO. That is a definite. We must have a new CEO in place. We need a new head of academy. We still haven't replaced Seb Jacobs. And I think we need a sporting director, someone to kind of oversee the whole operation, someone to be above Clement, above Coppen, to kind of direct the whole footballing operation, from not just the men's team, the women's team, the B team, the under 18s, everything. We need the whole situation, we need everybody, under one umbrella. Now, for me as well, I think not only do we need that CEO in place, obviously, the CEO for me, I mean, Gillespie for me is not a good appointment, and that seems to have died away a little bit, which is good news. I mean, the reason I don't like the Gillespie idea is because the fact that he is apparently mates with the board. For me, you need someone who isn't best mates with the board. You need someone who can be a bit objective, someone who can be independent of the board, someone who's not afraid to take decisions on his own, and someone who's not afraid to direct football operations in a new direction. Now, Adrian Bevington was an interesting, interview the other day. He spoke about, the Rangers CEO job been an interesting job, one that he was he was obviously interested in, but obviously had a job at the moment. Bevington is someone who has, good obviously role in the actual running of recruitment when he was at Middlesbrough, but also had some sort of aspirations as well around communications and business through his work with the FA. So he would be a decent appointment, but he is currently employed by a German football agency, so obviously it would cost compensation to get him out. But we do need someone to oversee that, who has a footballing knowledge and a business knowledge. We can bring those together to run the club. I think we need a new sporting director, someone who can be over Clement, over Coppen, over the whole football operation, and kind of bring together the B team, the under-18s, the women's team, the men's team, all those teams under one umbrella, and have an oversight of those teams and have a direction of those teams. For me, it's kind of important to take away from the head coach of the first team the responsibility for buying players, because if you are solely dependent on a manager buying players all the time, then every time you change manager, you need to change players. Whereas if you've got an overarching sporting authority there, a sporting director, a head of recruitment, a chief scout, who are responsible for recruiting players. And I'm not saying the manager has no say in signing the players. That's just silly. Of course, he has an input, but the overall responsibility needs to rest with those people, so that if the manager goes, you don't constantly need this recycle of new players, new manager, new players, new manager, new players, new manager, new players, rebuild, and that cycle. If you look at them across the road, they'll change their manager, but they use the same players. It fits the system. It fits the way they work. They adapt. They change. And that's the way we need to go. John says, I really hope there's a takeover bubbling away in the background. Me too, buddy. Things can only get better. The Albanian guide had a good write-up on international duty. We are going to talk a little bit of news about that. Zurab Almiran has apparently he is head of the academy's coaching side, but he's not the overall. Zeb Jacobs apparently was the big boss of the academy. Apparently he was above Almiron, and Almiron was head of academy, but he was something else above him. So I think we haven't replaced that. Whether it is we're not going to replace him, I don't know. I think that would be a good appointment. Adrian Bevington, I think, would be a very, very good appointment. Very, very good appointment. Random Madness says, can someone tell me what it is Barron does? He constantly loses the ball. His passing record is horrendous, plus folk keep taking the ball off him by players who are behind him. Our midfield was. We'll get to that in a minute. Really hope this takeover is true. Club deserves better, says Geordie. I mean, I don't know what's going on with takeovers at the moment. We definitely need big balls, money, and a proper understanding of Rangers supporters to run this club. When we new investors into the parks are gone, says Bluebells are blue. Better than Lundstrom playing, absolutely. Only a matter of time till Portugal score, says Aldo. Lundstrom's been torn to shreds by his new club. He has. A lot of fans saying Clement needs to go. It's his fault. We've had 20 plus players leave in 2 to 3 years. Clement, GBB, Beale, all bad coaches and managers. No, it's the state of the club. All right, Owen. Me and my mum found the price of a footy trip to Alton Towers is too much. So my mum said we're going to go to 5 Rangers games. The boat all covered from Northern Ireland for the price of a trip. Alton Towers is very expensive, mate. Very expensive. Very expensive indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Evening trips. Evening to you, Janet. So look, where are we up to with this? I think, like I said, I think we do need to have a rebuild within the management structure of the club. I think we do need a sporting director. I think we need a CEO. I think we need an overarching authority over Clement, over Coppen to kind of direct operations. You're right there, Aldo. It will take time. But the problem is, do Rangers managers get time? That's the big question. Do Rangers managers necessarily get the time to actually, change everything, adapt everything, move everything forward? Realistically, it doesn't happen, does it? It does not happen. Look, it was my team. It was 690 for my mum and just 2 nights in a hotel. That's awful, mate. That's on Towers is very expensive, mate. Very expensive. We do need, obviously, this overarching authority. We need a control. We need a CEO. We need a head of academy. We need a sporting director. We need someone who's going to oversee the whole thing. Sporting director, I think, for me, would be someone who came in, like I said, to oversee the first team, the B team, the under-18s, and the academy. Bring it all together, bring it in, and kind of have a plan, a way of integrating all those football operations together, having a joined up purpose there. Someone with an overarching authority over that, I think, would be a very, very good appointment for me. Can anyone see Clement beating the mob? Personally, I can't. when his record isn't good. GVB seems an excellent manager compared to what we have now. We have when even went further backwards as Random Madness. Look, I think on the whole GVB question, Random Madness, I think the big issue for Giovanni was the fact that he was never, ever backed properly. I mean, if you look at the players that GVB wanted to bring into the club, and you look at the players we actually ended up getting, I mean, he wanted Maatsen, we got Ridvan. He wanted Somerville, we got, I mean, who did we get again? Matondo. He wanted, Javi Simons, we got Cholak. Look, I mean, I think, if you look at those players that he wanted that have, this summer, I mean, Maatsen went, I think, for 37 million to Villa. Somerville went for 10 to 15 million to West Ham, rising, with add-ons. Javi Simons, I think, was 20 to 30 million. These are players that have gone on to be vast sums of money. If we'd signed those players and gone on they'd gone on to be as successful as they have been, which I've got no doubt Somerville, Maatsen, and Simons would have been. We'd be looking at raising somewhere in the region of £80 million in player sales, very much like them across the city. So for me, GVB was not backed. Yes, the football wasn't great, but again, I think that's down to the players he had, if I'm being honest. Brian Miller says, Owen, are you with me? Would you let Tav go? I would let him go and put Sterling at right back. I appreciate his time, what he did, but age gets the better of everyone, and it's his time as last year. Absolutely agree. 100%, buddy. 100% with you on that one. It is time for Tav to move on. It is time for Tav to go. 100%. 100%. Grant Willis says, the last manager to get time was Gerrard, and lo and behold, look what he did. RFC says Tav has really got supporters on split on here, and we should all focus on the club at what's going on. Give Gaza the CEO job. That mate would be proper chaotic, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. If GVB had got the backing, absolutely. I think it's got the backing to get the players he wants, buddy. I think that's the big one for me. I think that's the big one. Guess what? Mine too, Aldo. Mine too, buddy. GVB not back, but I still couldn't watch horseshoe football for any longer, says Scott. Look at the state of Chelsea. All they do is sack 22 managers in 21 years. True, but look at the trophies they've won. Won the European Cup twice, I think. Definitely let Tav go. Prime Time says, defo think we need new investors. If we don't, it's going to take years. Even if we're going well, who to say that teams won't take our players off us? We need to start again. That's if it works in the first place. We can't turn a Chelsea joke of a club. Chelsea are a bit chaotic in the extreme. But I think, the CEO role for me is one that we vitally need to fill. 100% need to fill, I think. And if we can get a CEO, someone who can be left to get on with this job. I mean, that's the other worry for me, is the board interfere way too much in what goes on with the team. I think the board needs to take a backward step. They need to take a back seat. They need to leave the CEO to get on with his job. Something like that, where he's actually given the authority to make decisions, to run this team, to look at income revenue streams, to look at the business side, to look at the football side, and take those decisions. I don't think Bisgrove was ever given that independence. I think Bennett was always in the background telling him what to do. So I do feel there is a need for that for me. Hugh Adams says, if Tav wants to stay, move him into midfield. But where would you play him, Hugh? You couldn't play him as a holding midfielder because he's not good enough to play there. His passing isn't that good. You couldn't play him as a right winger because he's too slow. So, I mean, Hugh, I think the best plan, if Tav stays, is to put him in the B team. I mean, that really is the best plan with Tav. I think the players need a trainer like Gattuso or someone with no nonsense attitude to tackles. That would be good. We've seen that. Not a good idea. Don't think Tav would have thought about moving if the fan didn't face off with him. Celtic gave Ange time, trusted him, gave him money. Why can't we do the same? There is money there somewhere. Who at the board decided that GVB taking us to a Euro final, smashing the box office money and sold players for good and great money? He wasn't going to get time, then put Beale in the stand. That was disgusting. We weren't buying Maatsen, Simons, Somerville. They were all loans. But it was the same thing. I think, even if it had been, with options to buy, mate, I think, even if we got them on loan, it would have been good jobs. That's pretty mad, isn't it? The fans will lose interest if we don't improve. I remember sitting in the standing in the early 80s with only 4,000 in the stadium. I'm good, Stephen. How are you? Portugal playing like Rangers. Aldo, lol. Tav went to worse at a B team starter with his form. Never fall out of love with Rangers, but it's getting to the point where I'm just fed up with the club. GVB signed Matondo, Davis, Lawrence, Suter, and Ridvan, all injury prone are not good enough. Scott, I would argue with that he signed them. I think it was more a Ross Wilson decision with a lot of those players, mate. I'm blaming Ross Wilson for those signings. I think Ross Wilson was given a lot of independence when it came to signings. Right, let's have a little chat about, I think, look, the team for me against Celtic, it did not look good at all. It did not look good. There wasn't a playing style there. There wasn't a shape there. They weren't using the ball well enough. There wasn't enough intelligent play there for me. I do think that we do need this young man here, Nadim Bajrami, to really hit the ground running. He is the big kind of white hope, if you're allowed to say that, of Rangers. He is a top player. He is a top player. Now, he was used on the left-hand side of the Albania team last night during their game, their win last night. He was used as a left winger. Now, he can actually play out on the wing. For me, I'd love to know where Clement intends using him. Does he intend using him as a 10? Does he intend using him as a winger? Where is he going to actually use him? Where is he going to play? So, like I said last night, Albania beat Ukraine 2-1. Like I said, Nadim Bajrami lined up on the left-hand side of a 3. Now, he looked quality last night. Don't get me wrong. He did play well last night. I mean, in terms of his stats, he was rated 4.2 out of 5. He played 77 minutes, in all. Had a decent pass success rate. Didn't create any chances last night. But, is that where Clement sees him? Is that where Clement wants to use him on the left-hand side, with Cortez out, with Matondo out? Are we going to see a situation against Dundee United where Bajrami is kind of sandwiched into the left-hand side and we use Lawrence still in the 10 role, which for me would be a mistake. I mean, Lawrence just looks slow, off the pace. He's just poor. I want to see Bajrami used as a 10. I want to see him in that 10 position. For me, it's really important that Clement starts to bed him in the position that he wants him to play. Now, if it comes in and he's put out on the left, I think we need to start worrying that, that perhaps he's not been signed as a 10. Perhaps he's been signed as an 11, and I don't think that is his best position. I think we need to see him in that 10 role. We need a new 10. We need someone who's quick, which Bajrami is, someone who's skillful, which Bajrami is, someone who's not afraid to have a shot, which Bajrami is. So for me, Bajrami is the kind of want to see come on, succeed, be a success, to be the man that leads this team forward. That's a big one. Bajrami is really a big hope. Jordy says, if Clement wants to gain any respect and show he's got the balls to change the team, all he has to do is not play Tav and take accountability for when it goes wrong. Agreed, Jordy, 100%. Mate, that would be a proper curse, wouldn't it, if that's had. Bajrami will start on the left until Cortez is up to speed because there's no one else, says RFC 72. Well, McCausland can play wide left, mate. I don't want to see Bajrami on the left, RFC 72. I just think that would be a ridiculous step. I think we need to start seeing this system working with the guy he actually wants in the 10 role, And even if it involves pushing Hjefte up to left wing, playing Sterling as left back, or getting Ridvan back, or playing, for me, what about playing Robbie Fraser as left back, Hjefte as left wing, Bajrami as the 10? So for me, there are options at left wing there until Cortez is back and fit. But, if we're sticking Bajrami out on the wing constantly, which is my big worry that Clement will do that, and I know I'm going to use an example here, and I know a lot of you are not going to agree with this example. Okay. But Fabio Silva was never a left winger. He was never a left winger, right? He didn't play well for Rangers. I get that. Now, was part of that because he was never actually used in his right position. Silva, for me, was kind of a 10, 9.5 kind of play. He wasn't really an out-and-out 9. He wasn't someone who, would come in and play up the top by himself. I don't think that was ever where Silva was intended to play. But sticking him out on the left wing, he just wasn't a left winger. And I think the same is with Bajrami. If we stick him out on the left wing, do we kind of lose that impact he can have in the 10 role? It is worrying for me that he's going to do that. I'd like to see us go back to Gerrard's formation, flat 3 with a 6, and Czerny and Bajrami as inside forwards. Bloody, I've banged on about this all year about playing a 4-3-3, mate. But I'll be honest with you, there's absolutely zero chance we do that. Clement is too inflexible. He won't change his formation. He's going to play 4-2-3-1. He's going to play 4-2-3-1. He's almost Mike Bassett-esque with his formation. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't had a Mike Bassett moment in a press conference. You know, Clement sits there and goes, Rangers will be playing 4-2-3-1, and then storms out. You know, that's, you know, I'm surprised that hasn't happened. I really am. Dave King never criticised Bennett, throws everyone else under the bus. David Phillips agreed. Janet says, talking about injury, wouldn't have let Suter and Barron go to Scotland setup, won't get played, will probably come back injured. RFC 72 says McCausland's not good enough. Fair enough, mate. But like I said, you could put Hiefte up there. You could put Fraser up there. There's a number of players who could play on the left-hand side for me. Yeah, I think he was played out of position. Yeah, Silva was played out of position. 100% agreed on that one. Bajrami, definitely a number 10 role, says Mays. Bajrami, okay, it's pronounced Bajrami. There we go, Bajrami. That's the pronunciation. Thank you, John. Thank you, Blue Nose, for that. You know, for me, this lad has got to hit the ground running. He really has, and the hope is that he can do that because you know he's not a young player. He's not coming in with a complete lack of experience. He's someone who has top experience in Serie A. Yes, he hasn't really played for any top teams in Serie A. I think Torino, he hasn't played for Torino. He's played for Sassuolo. He's played for Empoli. You know, he has never really played for a top team. You know, out there, Grasshoppers as well, Zurich, Empoli, Sassuolo. That's where he's been. But he's got a very full CV in terms of his playing career, in terms of what he's done in his career. You know, for me, we've got to stop this square pegs, round holes crap. We really do. You know, you've got to play players in their rightful position. And, you know, this lad for me is a 10. That's why we need to use him. I mean, look, the guy's got 127 appearances, 22 goals, 22 assists for Empoli, which 44 goal contributions, playing for a fairly poor team in a tough defensive league is pretty decent. Grasshoppers, 75 appearances, 6 goals, 6 assists. Sassuolo, 52 appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists. Zurich under 21s, 14 appearances, 4 goals during his time there. So, you know, he is a very technically gifted player. He is a very, very good player. So I really do hope that, you know, he is someone that is going to be used in his correct role. And we're actually going to see the best of him. Bajrami, for me, is someone that we have very high hopes for, very high expectations for. The new defender we signed can play at left back. He can, but we've got, I think, Hiefte and Fraser enough there. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Random Madness, I'd like to see him play right back. I'd like to see him right back. Happening all day, mate. How do you rate Cherney and Hiefte? I reckon take them over Arfield and Jack. Look, Hiefte looks good. He's a young lad, ALMAH 199. He's a good young lad. He's only going to get better. You know, he's got a physical side to his game. He likes to get forward. He's got a good cross on him. I think defensively, there's still a little bit of work to do there with him. But yeah, I think he's a top player, mate. I think he's a good player. Cherney, I'd actually like to see Cherney move to the left. I genuinely would. I think Cherney is a bit of a one-trick pony when he plays on the right-hand side. For me, when he's on the right side, he comes in field too much and runs into traffic. You know, I think most teams have got wise to Cherney now. That the fact that he always wants to come inside. So they're well willing to let him come inside, because the moment he comes inside, he's closed down by 2 or 3 players. And he's always, if you watch defenders defend Cherney, and if you watch Greg Taylor last Sunday defend him, he's constantly showing him outside on his right foot, because he knows he won't go outside. He wants to come back in. He looked quite effective on the left, actually, when he was going outside and using his left foot to put the ball into the box. So maybe Cherney on the left is an option until Cortez is fit. Order says, I mean, congratulations on your channel so far, how it's growing. One of the few channels that bans Tim's, lol. Mate, look, I just want to get this channel up and running properly, get up to 10K, so I can go full-time. I just want to go full-time with this channel, guys. That's what I want to do from now on. He's really a Swiss, and we know how technically good they can be. Agreed, Blue Nose. Dado says here, he says, I got it in the neck for saying the manager is not flexible. 4-2-3-1 doesn't work. The manager isn't flexible. I don't know why you got it in the neck, Dado, because Phil Clement is not a flexible manager. He's not a manager who will change shape, change formation. He will stick rigidly to 4-2-3-1, which to me is not. If you've got your players, look, if you've got your players and you've got a system where you've got a 6, you've got a 10, you've got 2 and out wingers, you've got a 9, you can play a 4-2-3-1 and it'll work. You see teams do this. Some teams use the 4-2-3. Manchester City being the prime example. But, if you haven't got the players to play in the positions, you've got to change your shape, change your formation, change your tactics to suit the players you've got. Now, at this moment in time, have we got all the components to make that formation? I don't know. I think, obviously a big test will come with Bajrami. What can Bajrami do? Can he show up? And can he be that 10? Can we get Cortez back? So if we've got Cortez fit, we've got Cherney fit, Bajrami fit, Danilo fit, Dessers fit, whoever up front, then you've got the system there. You can actually have a go at playing the proper formation. Where will the Moroccan boy play when he breaks into the first team? Believe he's versatile, says Scott Hammond. I mean, that's another one we could actually see on the left wing against Dundee United. He played there against Celtic. He came on the left-hand side, which I think is a bit of a stupid move because he's not a left winger. But it seems that, that Clermont does seem to have this obsession with sticking strikers on the left wing. So, it could be that Igman goes out onto the left wing, to start off with at very least. That could be the way that he goes. I don't know. That could be, how he's used initially. But then are we going down the whole Fabio Silva route again in playing a player not in his actual position? I mean, looking on transfer market, his prime position is centre forward. He can play right wing. He can play left wing. So maybe Hamza Igman comes on the left hand side. That could be the way that we play. Dada said he was the best player in Swiss football. That's by Rami. Yeah. Fecco seems to be playing well. What's the chances we lose him instead of recalling him? I'd say, Jolly, the chances of him actually coming back to Rangers are slim to non-existent. Clermont signed a player for each position, needs to gel most of them quick with players already there, but not Tav, Dessers or Lawrence, says Scott05. I pretty much agree with that. Aldo, yeah, I miss him. I miss Scotty. Really do miss Scotty. Agreed, Owen, well done. On your channel views, any pod, you can have a decent debate without falling out with one another. Thank you. Why don't they ask Cherney to replicate what Davy Cooper did for us, mate? That would be a massive one, wouldn't it? That would be a massive one. Huge one if we could get him doing that. I mean, Davy Cooper, what a legend. What a legend. What a legend. Evening, Scott. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Guys, lots of comments. Struggling to keep up with the live chat. Guys, I do miss your comment. I do apologise. That formations don't win games. Players do. Yeah, but players need to use the right tactics and right shapes at random madness. Look at Klopp. Look at Guardiola. Look at Arteta. Look at the managers that actually win things. Formation and tactics are okay. You have to have quality, something we lack, says Aldo. I think a lot of it is how you organise your team, mate. I really do. Yeah, I just mean playing on the left side. We didn't mess the late great Davy around with playing him on the wrong side of the pitch. Agreed. That's a good shout, John. I mean, it may be that's something we do in the next game. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Clermont's got planned. Who knows what Clermont's got planned? I mean, his teams are, always impossibly hard to pick, aren't they? I mean, but Cherney on the left might be an option with, Sterling on the right, or perhaps play Sterling if he's going to persist with James Tavernier, which unfortunately it looks like he is going to, look like he is. Then maybe, just maybe, we have to kind of put Sterling in at right wing to protect James Tavernier. Maybe that's the way forward. I don't know. That could be what he's planning on doing. He did absolutely, Alex. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. Yes, that was a massive mistake, Aldo, on last Sunday. Davy Cooper, absolute legend. Vladdy makes a great point here. If Davy Cooper was a player today, he'd be far out of financial reach. Lol. Mate, if Davy Cooper was around today, you'd be looking at over £100 million for a player like that. You really, really would. The guy was different class, absolute different class. You would be looking at over 100 million for a Scottish player. I mean, that's genuinely how I feel about Davy. He was that good. But, Bajrami for me is someone who does have to hit the ground running, does have to hopefully be played in his right position. But look, I think one of the key things we need to do post-international break is we need to get this team back. We need to get them fit. We need to get them ready to go. If we can have a full squad to pick from post-international break, then Clermont needs to go into this Dundee United game next Sunday with his strongest 11. Put in there his absolute strongest 11. And he's got to start showing some balls as well and getting rid of players that are not doing their jobs. Get rid of players that aren't, actually pulling their weight and doing what they've been asked to do. That, for me, is what we need to start seeing from this guy. Personally, look, if I was picking the team, and I know a lot of you will say, oh, thank God you're not picking the team, because you pick the worst teams ever. But, for me, I would like to see Clement. Look, let's face facts. The guy is not going to change from playing a 4-2-3-1. That's just not going to happen, is it? It is not going to happen. We are going to play with a 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that is just an absolute given in this day, at this moment in time. I can't see anything different to that. But I'd like to see him, try something out, to have a go with something, Now, obviously, given the fact that Danilo is out injured yet again, we will talk a little bit about that. I'd like to see him try this out. I really would like to see him try this out. This would be my team for the game on Sunday against Dundee United. So Butland in goal, back four, Casanwejo, starting at right back, Balogun, Proper, Chiefte, Balogun the captain. I'd make Leon Balogun captain. Look, I am slightly biased. I do love Big Leon. He is my favourite player. I think he's got fight, passion, heart. He's just got everything out there. So, yeah, I think Balogun, Proper, we've got to persist with Proper. We've got to, I know he was shocking against Celtic, but we've got to persist with him, because at the end of the day, we've got to start to try and get something out of him. And it may be that he's just taking time to settle in English football, in Scottish football, but that's just the way it is. So I was reading an article about something as well at the same time. So there we go. Barron and Diomande. Barron is the 6, Diomande is the 8, Cheney right, Bajrami 10, Igman left, Dessers up front. That's what I'd go with. That's what I would go with personally. I don't think for a minute Clement will do that. I really don't. But I think that for me is a decent team. Look, Tav's got to go. He's got to go. I don't get the obsession with him. I don't. Blue Nose cried for days when Davy Cooper passed. Love him, absolutely. Stephen says, Cheney, not for me. I think it's how he's used, Stephen. Like I said, I would like to see him used on the left rather than on the right. I would not disagree, but sometimes just a matter of opinion, says Scott. Absolutely. 100%, mate. Absolutely. 100%, Alex. Scott says here, Cortez on the left, Igman central, no Dessers. Look, Scott, I don't think for a minute that Clement's going to leave Dessers out, and I also don't think for a minute he'll start Cortez. We've seen, haven't we, with Clement, how cautious he is with bringing players back into the team. How cautious he is at reintroducing players. So I think, Cortez. I think Cortez will be on the bench. I really do think that will be the case on Sunday, that he'll be on the bench at least. Tav and Lawrence to start with, Bajrami getting 5 minutes at the end of the game, most likely, says Yoga Flame. Every chance, mate. Every chance. You know that with Clement. I don't think Proper can play with Suter. He's constantly behind Suter, wiping up a mess. I agree. That's why I'd play Balogun there. Balogun's our best defender, mate. I think Balogun's got to play at 10. Butland, Sterling, Kazan, Proper, Chiefte, Barron, Diomande, Bajrami, Cheney, Igman, Dessers. Me, says Vlad, good team. Scott says, "Why want to talk about it?" There's enough been said about him over the last few days, months, weeks, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't want to get that. Matt Gunner, hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you on the channel. Welcome. Hello. Welcome. Theme Boyd on Sky showing a picture of transfer costs. God, sorry, this chat is going really quick tonight. It's not so much the system. The players have no desire of fight, says Michael White. Balogun is one of the few players that truly gives a damn. Maze, that is 100% agreed. AMLH, because the fee hasn't been set yet. Now, Rangers apparently offered 525,000, but that was turned down by Aberdeen. Aberdeen are looking to get more money. Now, I've heard a rumour that Aberdeen want 7 figures for Barron. They want over £1 million for him. I can't see, if I'm being honest, the I can't see, that fee being agreed on. I can't see the tribunal organising an over £1 million. No, it's not a court, mate. It's a tribunal. So what happens with young players is, if you develop young players and you bring young players through your system, you are entitled to a compensation package for those young players if you then lose them at the end of their contract. So if they walk away at the end of their contracts and you've developed them, brought them through the system, you're entitled to a compensation package. So that compensation package that you are entitled to gives you a fee that is agreed as a reasonable fee, that if he moves outside the native country, this is what he will cost that buying club, the club that take him on. Okay, so the issue is that Rangers said to Aberdeen, here's 525,000, which was what the fee was that was agreed for his compensation package. Aberdeen said no, so it's going to go to a tribunal who will look at all the evidence and set a fee for Connor Barron. That's what we're looking at. Craig McKay says, hello from Nashville. Gotta say, absolutely love Nashville, mate. Love the country music. Yeah, mate, massive Luke Combs fan. Barron was the 6th choice for Aberdeen, which owned to pay 50k. Absolutely. Hello from Verbier in Switzerland. Wow, fantastic, Dado. What a fantastic place. I love Switzerland. Been to Switzerland many times, mate. Dado, I've been to Gstaad, stayed in Gstaad a few times, been to Zurich, been to Geneva, been to Thun, been to Bâle, been to a fair few places, mate. Absolutely love Switzerland a bit. Greatest country in the world, in my opinion. Love it to bits. Thought 250 grand like Gilmore. It's going to go up for 520. Well, like I said, we've offered 525,000. I think Alex makes a great point here. It's not about the money with the sheep. They just hate us. I agree. I think, I'll be honest with you, and you know what, you can call me conspiracy theorist central here, but I honestly feel if this had been Celtic, if this had been Celtic and they'd offered 525,000, Aberdeen would have accepted it. They would have accepted it because it's Celtic. So I think this is just a case of them trying to get as much money out of us because it's Rangers, and that's the sole point of this. It's all about Rangers, isn't it? It's the fact they hate us with a passion. They want as much money out of us as possible. That's the only reason for it. Like I said, if it was Celtic, if it was another team in Scotland, I don't think that this would happen. Absolutely. Barron was definitely first choice for the sheep. They just stopped playing him as they took the hump because he wouldn't sign a new deal. Rangers should offer 250k at the tribunal. Yeah, I think, Scott, I don't think they get to offer anything at the tribunal. I think it's what the tribunal get to offer, mate. That's what the tribunal will set the fee. I don't think either club can actually say it's going to be this fee or we're going to pay this fee. I think it is going to come down to what the tribunal decides. Right, guys, look, I'd be interested to get your opinions now. Look, Sid says give them nothing. Unfortunately, Sid, that we can't do that. There is, like I said, a compensation fee. John, I think that's a reasonable fee, 550,000. Very, very, very much a reasonable fee. Do you think coming back to the international break, the players will sort themselves out, Geordie? It's got to be hoped. It's got to be hoped. Craig McKay says, what do you think about our chances in the Europa League group stage? Wow, mate, it's going to be a very difficult Europa League group stage, isn't it? Let's have a quick look at it. Here is the Europa League group stage. As it stands, okay, these are our opponents. We've got Malmo first up. Look, realistically, Craig, you look at that, and there's some really tough teams in that. There is some really, really tough teams in that. There are some good teams in that Europa League. Alex is not hopeful. Scott says top spot. Yeah, maybe not, mate. Matt Gunner says we'll go through. Says Matt, look, Dark Knight questioning Cherney here. We'll get back to the Europa League question in a minute. Right. So look, realistically, I think Tottenham at home is a point. I honestly think that if we play right, that we can actually get a point against Tottenham. Tottenham aren't that good this season. Tottenham genuinely aren't that good this season. They've struggled in England. So I thought that for me is a point. Man United away, I think we get absolutely smashed. In that game. So I think there's absolutely no chance we beat Manchester United. I think we lose to Manchester United. I think we get seriously smashed. Lyon at home, I think is a point there. Olympiacos away, I think we lose. That is a horrible place to go and play. I think it, really is not a great place. I think we beat Union Saint-Gilloise. Malmo away, I think we beat Malmo. That's our first game up. FCSB at home, I think that's a win. And I think we lose against Nice away because it's away in France. I think that will be the difficult one. So I think, looking at 2, 5, 8, I would have us on coming out. My prediction for the group stage is this. So this is my prediction for the group stage. See what you think, guys. Do you agree? Here we go. Let me bring it up in a minute for you. Let's have a quick look at this. So this is my prediction. So 11 points. I think if we can get 11 points, I think that will be enough to take us through. I think that will be more than enough to get us through to the next round. We need to pick up as many points as possible in the first 4 games to qualify. John, I agree. The first 4 are probably the easier games under that. Like I said, I do think when it comes to Tottenham and Man United, they are going to be intensely tough games. English Premier League teams have a lot of money. They have a quality of player. So there we go. Malmo beat us in the Gerrard. They did, but this is a different Malmo side. This is a different Rangers side. Matt Gunner says here, Spurs, Man United, Olympiacos losses, Lyon, Nice draw, USG, Malmo, FCB wins. So you've got us getting 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 points, the same as me. Yeah, I think, I think 11 points, Matt, is a decent total. 11 points gets us through to the next round. I do think we will get through to the next round. I think we'll get enough points to get through to the next round. I don't think we can win the Europa League. Don't get me wrong. I think there's absolutely zero chance we actually get through to the next round. John says, I doubt we'll even win 1 game then. We'll get a few draws maybe, but that's at best. We don't have firepower to score the goals. No way we're getting 11 points. Scott says here, wish everyone would stop being so negative. We are Rangers. We'll fight to the end. And that's why I think we'll get 11 points, Scott. I think, if you go back to last season, and this is what I want to talk, what I want to say is, I think if you go back to last season, I think that, going into Europe, going into Europa League, there's a lot of people with that squad, wouldn't have given us the chance of getting through to the next round, wouldn't have given us a chance at winning that group. But we did. We won the group. And I think, to me, there's something about Europe that just... Rangers lift their game for Europe. I don't know what it is. Rangers just seem better in Europe than they do domestically. That's why I think we will get enough points. That's why I do think we'll actually get through to the next round of the Europa League. As bad as it might be going in the SPL at this moment in time, I just think, at the end of the day, we will have enough to get through in Europe, just because, like I said, Europe is where we raise our game. We just seem to play a whole lot better. And, we're back at Ibrox as well. Ibrox is the 12th man. I just honestly feel that we'll have enough to progress in the Europa League. I really, really do believe that we will get through it in the Europa League to the knockout stages. I genuinely think that. Jordy says, do you think we play better in Europe because it's less physical? Yeah, I do. I think the players are just better suited to it. I think the pressure is less. And also the other thing about when we play in Europe is a lot of the time we're the underdogs. We're not rated as going to win. And also the fact that teams will play football against you in Europe. You go and you play the likes of Nice, Malmo, FCSB. You play these teams. They will play football against you. They won't shut up shop. They won't park the bus. They won't kick the shit out of you for 90 minutes. They'll actually try and play football against you because they'll think they've got a chance of beating you, which gives Rangers a better chance. So I do think that if we play against teams that want to play football, we look better. I do think that is a chance that we can actually get through. I said in the close season, if Tav turned up to play for a new season, things were going to turn really toxic, and they have. I mean, they certainly have with Tav. Like I said, I don't really want to talk about Tav either today. We will talk about Tav at some point, don't worry. Hopefully, Danilo can get fit and speed to speed soon, and hopefully, Igman can contribute soon. Craig, I agree on that one. Evening trips. Scott, who'll be selling in January, mate? Who'll be selling in January? Janet says, Scott, we all love Rangers, but it's hardly positive when you're watching Dross week in, week out, says Janet. We beat Ross County 6-0. Man United Spurs, no problem, says Michael White. A bit of a tongue-in-cheek from Michael White. I honestly believe that, that we will have enough to get through. We will have enough to get through in this Europa League. I do think that. The end of Olympiacos is loaded, and he also ends Nottingham Forest. He does, Blue Nose. Absolutely, he is loaded. I go and see a team called FC Sion. I've heard of them, Dado. actually heard of them as a team. So look, I do think we'll have enough to progress, Craig, in the Europa League. I think we'll get enough points at home to actually see us through, with the odd away point as well mixed in there. Like I said, I do think we play better in Europe. Yeah, beats me, Scott Hughes. Sorry, Hal. Scotland are winning 1-0. Scotland are still at 1-0 up. I just want to give a big shout out, by the way, just whilst I remember. Big shout out to my good friend Sarah McGeechan. You may remember Sarah from being on the pod. Sarah's been through a very tough time recently with her family. So I want to wish Sarah all the best. We're thinking of you, Sarah. We wish you all the very best. I hope everything sorts itself out, that everything gets going again. And we're looking forward, Sarah, to having you back on the channel very, very soon indeed. So, Sarah, hope everything's going well. Look after yourself. Look after that family of yours. Big shout out to Sarah McGeechan. Sarah, if you're watching, let me know. Okay, Charles says in the live chat, give Barron a wee gaff in Ibrox cellar, then tell the sheep he's done a runner by the time they've tipped a grub here. Funny. Lol, like that one. January must be Tav, Dowell, and Lawrence, says Charles. Agree, Charles, that we do need to shift some out in January. And they won't recognise him. Lol. We need another forward to help Dessus. I mean, maybe putting Bajrami off him may actually help him. Scott says Tav might go this week. Well, we can but hope. Although he's just bought £1 million flat in Glasgow by all accounts, mate. Random Madness says Tav should be captain as a player, as depressed as he will be. Like, yeah, absolutely. There's Sarah, guys. If we can wish Sarah all the best. Thanks so much, Aaron. Really appreciate that. We are the people. There is Sarah, who is a channel member. Sarah, thank you. I've been a member, obviously. Sarah will hopefully be on next week. We are talking at the moment about that. Look, guys, this is Hugh. Beats everyone has Scotland winning, especially with that Ralston playing hopeless player. Right, look. What else I want to talk about today? I want to talk also a little bit about the whole situation around the Dave King statement. Right. So Dave King's made some statements this week. He's talked about the abuse of Tav. He's talked about the fans and the toxicity towards the team and the toxicity towards the board. How do you feel about what Dave King has said, guys? Let me know what you're in the live chat. What are your honest opinions as to what Dave King has said? Please let me know what you think. Is Igman going to be the next Morelos? Fingers crossed, Stephen. He certainly looks in the same sort of build as him, doesn't he? 100%. Charles says, Glasgow flat for Tav means nothing. He's done it through a business, has property, etc. all over England too. Well, let's hope that means he is on the way out. He's just using it as a business investment then. If Scotland can beat Portugal, Rangers can beat Man United. That's definitely a good one. Yeah, Sarah. Janet says, take care, Sarah. Alex says Dave King should shut up. Fair enough. Look, I think for me, this statement is very ill-timed. He's made this statement at a very, very bad time. I think he really genuinely has put this statement out at the wrong, time for me. He should have, really thought about what he was saying and kind of reined it back in a little bit. This is not the point of time to be coming in and backing Tav or backing the board. The feeling, I think, in the fan base is very much at this moment in time, there is a lot of anger towards John Bennett. There's a lot of anger towards Tav. There's a lot of anger towards a lot of people at this moment in time. Yes, Craig, we'll get to that. Don't worry, buddy. Look, I just feel that Dave King really does need to be a lot more sensible with what he actually says. King is having a go at the Parks, says Scott Kearney. I mean, the Park families for me are a curse on this club. The Park family need to go. 100% do need to go. Graham Park, Douglas Park, all need to go. 100% on that one, mate. As much as I appreciate Dave King, he is the Rangers' Simon Jordan, says Charles. That's a decent point. Simon Jordan does make good points sometimes, but does talk a lot of shit at times. Now, the point that Craig made was the video that I released earlier, and I'm not going to talk too much about this because the video obviously is out at the moment. Individual players cannot be held accountable if the combined result of recruitment and team preparation results in poor performance. That was, I think, a little bit of a slight at the players that we brought in this summer and also the way that Clement prepares his team. I think, just going back to the whole John Bennett thing, before we get back to that, one thing that slightly concerned me in what he said was, he said that John Bennett is working tirelessly behind the scenes. Well, if John Bennett is working so tirelessly behind the scenes, is working so hard behind the scenes, well, why the fuck is it? Why not have we still not got, a head of academy? Why have we still not got a sporting director? Why have, if he's working so tirelessly, why have we not got all these things in place? That's the one thing I would ask of him, is that if he's working so tirelessly, why are these things not done? Why are these things not in place yet? Ross Ferguson wants to start a podcast, the guy from Royal Blue. I'll be in contact with him then, Dado, see if I can get him on the channel if he wants to come promote. The problem with Tav is he looks casual and nonplussed. He doesn't seem to suffer the way the fans do. Agreed. Absolutely. Alex says here, how can Bennett work hard from London, for fuck's sake? I think, for me, that is a real debate. How is he working hard? When we're told 9 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago now that the appointment of a CEO was close, yet we don't seem to have a CEO. How does that work? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. So I don't agree with that statement that John Bennett is working hard. I think he might be working hard, but he's not working smart. I think that could be a big thing. One of the big things that I see a lot, guys, is you see people who work hard. Don't get me wrong, people who work hard but are just not up to the job. And that's the key thing. You can work hard, but if you haven't got the talent to do the job, if you haven't got the skill to do the job, you can work as hard as you want, but you don't have to work hard. You have to work smart. And Bennett isn't working smart for me. And that's one of the big things that I can see, that Bennett is not working smart. Stephen says, in Coppen I trust, by the way. I'm hoping these new recruits are on par with his PSV work. Me too, mate. Aren't we all? We all hope that is the case. I think for me, the whole Dave King statement is kind of come at the wrong time for me. It really has. And I think he should have been a little bit more guarded with what he said in this statement. And like I said, this statement here, individual players cannot be held accountable if the combined result of recruitment and the team preparation results is in poor performance. So is he saying that basically the players we have, the squad we have, are not good enough? The players we've brought in have not supplemented the players we've got? What is he saying there? Is he attacking Clement and his preparation of the team? Is he attacking the signings? What is he doing there? And I think, like I said, he should have been a lot smarter and a lot cleverer with the way he spoke in that interview. I think King carries a lot of goodwill amongst Rangers fans. But the issue is, I think if he keeps coming out with statements like this, where he attacks fans for being unhappy at the board and unhappy at James Tavernier, and then says things like this, he's going to lose goodwill quite quickly. That is one worry for me. Is there a decent CEO who wants to come to us? Alex, that is the $1 million question. You know what? If we're going to bring someone in, Adrian Bevington, I think, would be a good appointment. The other guy is it Andrew McKinley or somebody, the guy who's the Hearts CEO? I think he would be a great appointment. I think he's done a really good job at Hearts. He's a Scottish person, understands the league, understands the country. So Andrew McKinley for me would be a very good appointment. I think he's a Rangers fan as well. Would rather did stand later and spent money on players. Agree. Proper collector. Ask that lady Staven if she wants the job and bring her money. Is that Amanda Staveley you're on about, Scott? There, Amanda Staveley, the woman who was behind the Newcastle takeover. Is that who you're on about there? And that would be an interesting one. If you get her interested in buying the club. There's talk of Todd Bowley selling his Celtic shares. Red Bull wanted to invest, says Dado Perso. Mate, I would look. Serious question. I was going to ask this in one of the videos actually. How would you feel? If Red Bull bought Rangers and brought Rangers into the Red Bull family? What do you think of that? How do you feel? How would you feel about this as a team name? We'd have to obviously change the name a little bit, but how would you feel about this? RB Rangers. How would you feel about that? Honestly, tell me your thoughts. Would you accept RB Rangers? Stephen, not a surprise there. The stand has been getting done for disabled access for years. There's Random Madness. Blue Nose says the English FA are good at getting profitable sponsorships, so Bevington could be the right man. I'm hoping that the board have seen that interview and, look at how we can possibly do that. Not a useful statement for Dave King, but allowed an opinion, of course. Transfer window is closed, so not much money available. Clement on a new contract. So what would Dave King suggest? Good point, Craig. Good point. Dado Perso, don't need to be an F1 car, says Alex. No to Red Bull, says Jolly. RB Rangers not for me, says Stephen. Dado says got a ring to it. Red Bull Rangers. It would give me wings, says Random Madness. No Red Bull as they're hated in Germany. Everyone hates RB Leipzig. Yeah, I had heard that, John, actually. Everyone hates RB Leipzig. One each. Portugal have scored. Getting well done, Portugal. I'd like Red Bull, but it would make Europe very awkward. Actually, Charles, it wouldn't, because I think there's a decision being taken here where I can't remember who it is now, but it's Manchester City or someone else who is in the same group as a team that is owned by the same thing. I don't know who it is now, but it's all part of the same family, and UEFA have said it's absolutely fine. So yeah, I think that is that is an okay one, mate. If RB wanted to invest, but I don't think RB Rangers would be a goer with the fans, shall we say. I don't think that would be a goer for the fans. Can't stand Verstappen, wouldn't want him at Brox, lol. Unless he can play up front, mate. I mean, if Jos Verstappen can play up front and score 30 goals a season, I'd be quite happy to have Jos Verstappen up front for Rangers. If he can actually score the goals. Oh, Alex, mate, you had to go there, didn't you? I can't fucking stand that man. I just can't stand him. Lewis Hamilton, just generally don't get him. Rangers RB, not RB Rangers for me, says Charles Darwin. RB Leipzig were a brand new team, says Random Madness. Well, they weren't actually. They were a team that were bought up by. They were an East German team that were bought by Red Bull and had their name changed. What about Teddy Saji? I've heard no more about that, mate. Ibrox Red Bull, I would have that for a year or two. No, says Janet. No chance would I take Red Bull, says Grant Willis. Look, I think that's pie in the sky thinking anyway. I think that one's definitely has Verstappen got a turn of pace. But he has in a car, mate. He's got one in a car. Right, guys, this, you know what? It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? Obviously, the TAV story's coming out. That's one to watch for this week with the Turkish window still open. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas are still, very much interested in bringing in players. So, look, I mean, we've obviously got to keep our eyes open. Is that a goer for this week? Could something happen for this week? That was it, John. They bought the license of a non-league German team. That was it. That's what they did. I remember listening to a documentary about how IB were born and how IB were created once. But yeah, look, I mean, there's still a TAV situation to watch. I agree with what Craig says. I don't think the Dave King statement was particularly helpful at this point in time. And look, I think going forward, look, this week now, we just have to get all our players back from international duty, get them all back, get them fit, get them ready to go, and have a full squad to pick from for the Dundee game on Sunday. And then for me, I think, regardless of where players are, I think, we need to Leon. That was it. It was Leon. Yeah, the Leon owners own someone else. That was it, Grant. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that was it. Corners might get better with Red Bull, says Charles. Lol. I think, there is, for me, it's all about Dundee. It's all about getting the players back, like I said, and having Clermont have a fully fit squad to select from, and just going with our best possible team. Sod this, he's only just joined. He's been down IKEA wallpapering for a week. Sod this, he's only just come back from injury shit. Get the strongest team out from minute one. And then, if needs be, at half time, 50 minutes, an hour, you start to make your changes. Go with the strongest team from the outset. That, for me, is the way forward for Rangers. Well, guys, that is it for tonight. We've got a very, very busy week coming up for you. Just to go over what we've got coming up this week for you, obviously, there will be daily videos out, obviously, with all your Rangers news, views, and opinions. What else have we got this week? So this week we have got for you Tuesday morning, 10:30 a.m. we have got the morning show. Wednesday, there's a double header on Wednesday. We've got the morning show from 11 a.m. and we've got an evening podcast at 7:35. Looking to get a guest on there. We'll also have morning shows and evening shows the rest of the week as well. Yeah, I've heard that Todd Bowley is selling his shares. If Todd Bowley wants to buy Rangers, that would be brilliant. That would be amazing. So look, we've got a lot of shows coming up this week. I want to really push it this week. Try and get the podcast audiences higher. Podcast audiences at the moment are a bit low. We're getting under 100 for a lot of podcasts, which is poor. We do need to get the podcast audiences up. So please obviously spread the word. Guys, we're going to put a real push in these next couple of months to try and get this channel going. My aim, I'd love to, in January, obviously, go full time with this. I'd love to be able to hand my notice in January and start full time with this going forward, guys. So please obviously help with the build. Please help with us moving us forward. Guys, thank you for watching. Please, obviously, on the way out, smash the like. If you've just found the channel, please obviously hit the sub. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, on the way out, please smash that like, smash that sub, drop a comment, and remember always, we are